What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Ghost Recon Phantoms weapon review. Now, the problem has been that they are just releasing, that is Ubisoft, so many weapons that doing just one weapon pack review didn't seem sufficient, didn't seem enough. So what I thought I was going to do, and what I'm going to do now, is to do a complete weapon review of all the recent releases in the last couple of months per class. So it's going to be in 3 installments, in 3 separate parts. I'm going to cover Assault today, and then next time I'll cover Recon, and then the last time I'll cover Support and talk about all the weapons, because there's so many. And of course, mark my words, Ubisoft is going to be putting out more of these recycled H weapons. Now, personally, I wish they would release some new models. I think it's very cool what they've done in some sense, because you have a lot of choice, and in that sense, of course, they've achieved their goal. But just re-releasing new skins and to old models is kind of boring. Whatever. So today we're going to be talking about Assault. So, as far as assault rifles are concerned these days, I think there are 4 primary choices for the assault class. This is, of course, just my opinion based on my own gameplay and my own style. So you got to decide that for yourself, but I'm going to tell you what the differences are. There are also 2 choices with grip. And before I go into the actual choices, let me talk about the grip choices. They did release a AR-21H Rainbow Edition, and most recently they released an F2000H C Edition. Actually, both C editions, which means close quarters grip weapons. The AR-21 is okay. It's pretty stable, but the problem with it is there really isn't, the DPS just isn't at the level of some of the other guns, and it doesn't offer a real advantage over a lot of the other guns either, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of grips on assault rifles. I don't really see the point, because oftentimes with, say, the other guns that I'll be talking about, for example, the M16H, the AK-12H, the ASVAL, SV, and the AN-94, you pretty much can do, by crouching, get the same amount of stability at about, say, 30 meters or what have you, that you can with a grip. And let's face it, if you're using a grip, the chances are that you're not going to be fire. I mean, yeah, you can fire at 60 meters, but it's not ideal. But it's stable. I mean, it's definitely a stable gun, and it's it's okay. But I certainly wouldn't recommend this. I don't even know if it's for sale anymore, but I think it's a waste. Not really anything special. I mean, just compare, as I said, to some of the others. Yeah, take the good old. Can't switch now. No, okay, there we go. Take the good old AN-94. I'm actually using a Phantom on this at the moment, but whatever. And even with a Phantom, you're getting pretty much the same stability that you would with a grip. Maybe not at 60 meters if you feather tap it. Well, certainly with the AN-94, and if you just burst fire, it's fine. But more importantly, I think if you look at something like the ASVAL, which is, it's got a long barrel, it's got a bipod, you absolutely can get the same level of stability that you can with, say, the SARS, more or less. And it's got more DPS, so, So what you might be thinking now is, oh, well, SAR-21, or sorry, AR-21, my bad, AR-21, not so great. F2000HC, yeah. This gun has the highest DPS of any assault rifle available at the moment. It's got, I think, 689.5, I think. That sounds great on paper, and you look at it on paper, you're thinking, wow, 940 fire rate, 44 damage, wow, right? Well, unless you're a master of controlling weapons and you are immune to recoil issues, I would not recommend this gun at all. It is, yeah, that's great, you know, 10 meters, fantastic. But if you're in a firefight, even on Tomsk, in my experience, and you have to go against people using bipods, LMGs, more traditional assault rifles, you're going to lose really badly. For one thing, obviously, in cover grips suck. The other thing is the amount of control you need to exert to put on the gun to just make sure to control the muzzle climb. If I don't do anything, even this is at 30 meters pretty much. Look at that. I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to control it. Even here, what's that, 10 meters? So I'll control it at 30. Yeah, you can control it, but you can see the problem. This gun has way too much recoil. And of course, it's intentional, because if this gun didn't have a lot of recoil, everyone would be using it. I mean, yeah, if you're Mick, or maybe this guy Kin I played against recently, maybe recoil doesn't matter. But for most players, I think no matter what your level is, you're going to want a stable gun that's reasonably easy to control. And this is not one of them. Yeah, at 30 meters, it's more or less okay. But this, at 60, it is a real struggle. The only thing you could do is burst fire, tap it. But even then, just tapping does have a semi, so you could do that, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the fire rate and the DPS. Now, if you compare this to other guns, you know, without controlling the recoil, yeah, okay, it's similar, but the difference is that the other guns have a bipod. Now, so I've talked about the grip ones, which I would not recommend. I don't think there's a point unless you really like grips, you don't like being in cover, and you're really, really good at controlling weapons. Some people are, some people aren't. I personally don't like the grips, and I don't really like having to try to control things so much that you lose accuracy in the process and you can't even hit the enemy. Remember, in those critical moments in your firefight, if you can't control the weapon, that could mean life or death, right? So, what are the 4 weapons I would recommend that have come out in recent months? Well, I still think the ASVAL HSV is a fantastic weapon. I don't actually use it really ever anymore, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't recommend it. It's really, really good. And of course, the Modmaster, you know, it's slightly different, but I would recommend that as well. It's still laser gun, you know, it's still, of all the assault rifles, it's the most laser gun-ish I could call an assault rifle. It's still got that super high fire rate, the accurate pinpoint accuracy, the lack of spread. Now, it's pretty good. It's got a good DPS, good in CQC. So this, and of course the Modmaster variation, definitely something I would recommend. Very, very good. Still, very, very good. Don't use it personally, and I'll explain why in a bit. This choice is still very, very good, AN94 or the Modmaster if you don't have the special edition. And you can do a lot of different setups. I played against Kyler last night, got our asses kicked. He was actually using, on Metro of all things, a short barrel AN94 with a grip. And because there's no recoil on the burst mode, you know, you can kind of have any setup you want with it and somehow make it work. But yeah, this is still, if the ASVAL is a laser gun, this is a precision sniper for for the assault class, as many of you know by now, right? You ever have problems with snipers on Metro or say Robitech? I hate Robitech. Take out the N94 and start sniping. And I use reflex scopes obviously most of the time, but I keep this set up just so I'm prepared for situations where if I do have to deal with snipers or we're getting pushed back, I have an option, say with the Phantom scope, that I can actually engage in very long range, because I don't have the eyes to engage in a sniper battle at 100 or 130 meters with a reflex. You know, but with this, you can do it. So yeah, this is still, I think, the precision sniper rifle of assault rifles. Lack of ammo kind of bothers me, but we'll talk about it in a bit. Then we have, actually I'm going to go to my favorite to last. My favorite is the AK-12H, but then we have the, where is the black, M16 black? I have to find it. There we go. I like this a lot. It's probably my second favorite assault rifle. I use it. It has the best feeling to it. If you want a really balanced assault rifle, a really nice one, just an overall nice one that's very accurate, very stable. It's got almost the light machine gun levels of control, I think. It's so stable. There's almost no recoil. It's very, very nice. And the burst fire, it's kind of somewhere in between an AK-12 and an AN-94. It doesn't have the rapid nature of it. It doesn't have quite the precision, but the burst fire is quite good on as well. No. I really like the burst fire on this. But overall, I just like the stability. It's a very stable, compared to the other assault rifles, maybe not quite as accurate, but pretty accurate. Very nice rate of fire. And it feels good. It feels good when you use it. It's just very controllable. It's a nice weapon you can use. Even in crouching, it's very, very stable. It's probably to date the most stable. Well, maybe not 60 meters so much, but crouching. But to date, I think it's the most stable assault rifle that they've released by far. Just because you combine the pretty high rate of fire of over 700, as well as the 64 control, and yeah, it's just very, very nice. So definitely my second favorite one. I would highly recommend this. Depends on what your playstyle is, obviously. But the thing about this is, like I said, it's super stable. You don't have to worry about controlling too much. You can fire full auto and at long ranges, and you're not going to have too many issues. Really like this gun. I still don't use it that often as much as I like it, and I'll explain why. Now, of course, guys, this is just my personal preference and my personal choice, but I'd say 90, maybe 80 to 90% of the time I use the AKH SP ACR. Now, they still haven't released the Mod Master, so we'll have to see about that. But this is my favorite assault rifle by far. There are a lot of reasons for that. For one thing, at 88 accuracy, it's still pretty accurate. The control at 62 is quite good still. So it's easy to control. It's pretty accurate. It does have the typical sort of AK spread, which is annoying. But for one thing, I love the burst fire. The burst fire, many people have noted, have paid attention. It's not the same. It doesn't come at the same fire rate as the normal one. So if we just go full auto, right, that's the 670 fire rate. Now you can just see the difference in burst fire. That is not 670. That's got to be in the 900s or something, maybe in the thousands. No one actually knows exactly how fast the burst fire rate is, but it is significantly different. And because of that, it allows you to take really nice pop shots. It's not, of course, it doesn't have the accuracy of the M16 burst fire or certainly not the A94, but certainly at close ranges, yeah, the pop shots are really nice, pop out of cover. And because of the rate of fire, it can really do some serious damage. Very good against snipers at short to medium ranges as well. I wouldn't use this obviously at long ranges. Then I start using the AN-94, but most gunfights are at short to medium, so yeah. But the thing I like the most about it is pretty simple. It's stopping power. You know, it's got massive ammo. I don't run out. It's so rare to run out with this gun. I mean, you get 240 rounds in total, a 60 round clip, which is, halfway more than half of 60% of what you would get on an LMG. And for me, that's really important because I do a lot of pre-firing. If I'm going around corners, let's say there's a corner, I start firing, and I don't run out. Last night I had a really nice game on Tomsk, and I was just mopping them up and I wasn't running out. The match finished. I didn't need to. I still had 40 rounds in the clip after using almost everything. And yeah, this is why I like this gun so much. It's pretty accurate, not like the others, but it's accurate enough. It's quite stable, and it just lets you just fire away like Rambo, and you never run out of ammo, basically. This is why I like this gun by far the most of the assault rifles. It just gives you those advantages that the others don't. I mean, you don't know how many situations I've been in using the AN94, the ASVAL, yeah, and even the M16, where those 40 rounds, they just run out so quickly. If you're doing a flank on nukes or whatever, you're in the middle of reloading and there are 2 guys left. That doesn't happen with the AK-12H. It just doesn't happen because, yeah, I mean, you got 60 rounds. It's really, if you're flanking 4 or 5 guys, you're still going to have ammunition at the end. And that's really important, at least it is for me. Also because I do a lot of pre-firing. And also it's a gun with a very high damage for an assault rifle per bullet. I prefer guns, if the ASVAL is a laser gun, precision laser gun, it doesn't have the high damage per bullet. I prefer guns with, say, it says 55. Of course, the M16 Black Edition is somewhere in between with 51. It's got a nice fire rate, nice damage per bullet. But this is pretty much my go-to assault rifle. I've tested out so many extensively for lots of games, and I always seem to go back to this just because I get the best results, usually, except at very long ranges. I mean, more than 60 meters, yeah, probably wouldn't want to. Yeah, you can still kind of get away with it, but it's not really optimal. But yeah, I mean, for short to medium range, which is most maps, this is my go-to gun. Doesn't mean it has to be yours. Maybe you don't mind the lack of ammunition, but for me, being able to Rambo style and just pre-fire and not worry about running out of ammunition, as well as that burst fire, which is so fast for the pop shots. It doesn't have the accuracy of the AN94, but if you do land the shots, it's going to be deadly. So that's why I love this one. Definitely my favorite assault rifle. Of course, they haven't released the Modmaster version yet, and I don't even know if I'm going to use it because I find the medium barrel on the AK-12H SP suppression one, of course, to be pretty good. I don't really see the need, but obviously, if you don't have this, you're going to want to wait for the Modmaster, and it's going to offer a lot of the same advantages that the Special Edition does. So, my 2 personal recommendations, because they fit my style, are first the AK-12, second the MK16H, which I like a lot. I just don't like it as much as the AK-12H. Then the ASVAL, and then probably the AN94. The AN94, I'd say, in a way, it's the worst one. And you got to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. When I say it's the worst in the sense that it doesn't have the ammunition that the others have. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's great. The AN94 is still great. It's just, yeah. So AK-12H, number 1. Number 2, MK16, best overall, most stable, good rate of fire, feels nice, good burst mode, has everything you want in an assault rifle, and it's still available. That's another thing to note. And ASVAL, yeah, that's a classic laser gun. Let's talk about the shotguns before I finish up here. Man, there are a lot of shotguns now. The most recent one, which I only used for 1 round, or no, it was actually 2. I used it for a whole match, but there are, I mean, you range it from the Pentagon, which I don't think is that great, so I'm not going to even talk about that, to this new Spas, which, yeah, it's okay, but there's a lot of choice, put it that way. There's a lot of choice now, and it's hard to know where to go. But having said that, there probably are 3, maybe 4 optimal choices. At the bottom, I would say that the SPAS 12H is probably the 4th best shotgun available. One thing about the SPAS models, of course, is that it allows reload interrupt. You can see I'm reloading, and or I can do the reload again, and boom, right? That's really an advantage. But the rate of fire isn't really up there. I mean, you have and the accuracy isn't really up there. Okay. So that's so much for that shotgun. I don't really think it's a great shotgun. And why am I switching to that? That's weird. So that's not a really good shotgun. It's probably the 4th best available now. Let's talk about the newest one. It's got a very good rate of fire and a pretty good damage for the rate of fire. But, you know, honestly, I used it for 1 match. It's nice. It doesn't have the reload interrupt. And yeah, it's just, it doesn't have any special advantage over the next 3 I'm going to recommend as the best shotguns available. Okay, so because this is also semi. In no particular order, because this is going to definitely come down to your preference. The classic Mark 1 Halloween. This thing is still freaking super high damage, super high fire rate, reload interrupt. Right? Got the reload interrupt just like the others. And the accuracy. It's got 16 accuracy. That's a lot for a shotgun. So it's kind of the shotgun sniper. I'm still getting sniped across from Tomsk with this thing all the time. So one of the top 3, maybe the top 3, depends what your preference is. Still one of the kings of shotguns, for sure. Mark 1. My personal preference, however, is not this, but the fully automatic M3A1H SP. Why? Well, it has the same accuracy. It doesn't have the damage per shot, but look at that rate of fire, 191. If you're playing in a game, Ubisoft still hasn't fixed lag issues, or you have lag spikes, you want a gun that's going to fire fast, that's going to get the shots off fast. And yeah, if you're going to miss shots because of lag or X or whatever, then you want a gun that's going to be able to fire quickly. Now, it doesn't have the reload interrupt, but it has 16 accuracy. And look at that rate of fire. For me, this is definitely the shotgun to go with. I use this most of the time. And yeah, this is my shotgun. I use this M3A1H. And yep. My personal preference. There is one left, of course. That's really good. A lot of people use it. I've used it, but it does have some problems. The PM5HSV. Now, supposedly it's an SV, but only has 14 accuracy. But yeah, you look at the damage on paper, it's 272, and you're just thinking, wow, look at that damage. And yeah, it is a one-shot, one-kill weapon if you don't have lag, if there are no server issues, etc. I've used it. I've used it pretty well sometimes. It doesn't have the reload interrupt, but the rate of fire, you know, this is a gun that will kill anything, even one of those idiot assaults that run around with 190 health. But the problem is, if you have more than one, say there's another guy with him, you're just not going to be able to get the shots off on time. The rate of fire is too slow, right? Where you compare this with the M3A1H, you know, you can eliminate an entire squad, you know, 5 guys with that if you're lucky. This is a one-shot, one-kill weapon, but I would also call it a one-shot, you know, one-die weapon. You got that annoying assault with 180, 190 health, and then this recon friend comes around the corner, and you just can't pull the trigger fast enough to kill him, right? Because the rate of fire is just too slow. Are there ways to compensate? Yeah, you can kind of snipe with it. You can be sneaky. You can kind of get that one shot in, hide, then wait for the next guy to come. And I've done it that way. But I personally prefer to have the certainty of this, that I know You know, here's the one guy down, next his buddy down, third guy, it's a bit long range down. That's what I like. That's my preference, though. You know, maybe you like that, the PM5, you know, one shot, one kill. Nothing's going to survive that if you don't have lag. Nothing will survive that. Doesn't matter how much armor they have, whether using ballistic, everything will die, or assault, or health. But for me, this is the choice. The other shotguns, forget them. Not even worth it. The most recent one is just, bleh. There's no point to it. And I think there's a strategy to this, basically. Ubisoft is releasing guns that are, yeah, they're all sort of the same, right? They're all sort of, yeah, they're tier 9, right? So they kind of sort of have to all be the same or similar. But the reality is, folks, that the guns they're releasing, they are all tier 9, but some classes are getting better guns than others at different times. Of the most recent pack, it's hard to say who has the best gun, and I'm not going to talk about that until I get to the others. But the point is that, so for example, the F2000H, right, with the best DPS, 689.5 in the assault class, it's got control issues. It's not that accurate. So they're trying to balance things. Who knows what the next pack is going to have? I couldn't tell you, but anyways, that is my review for assault. There's so many weapons to cover. Next up, I will be covering recon, SMGs, and sniper rifles, maybe in the next couple of days, and maybe it'll help you pick and choose. Like I said, this is all just my preference for my playstyle. I know a lot of people don't like the AK, they don't like the way it sounds. For me, it's not perfect, but it's close to perfect. I like the ammunition. I just like the firepower it gives you. And as shotguns go, I think, unless you have a perfect ping, I really think this is the best choice to go with. A rapid-fire, high-damage shotgun like the M3A1H is the way to go. So thanks for watching, guys. Comments are appreciated, and let me know what you think. And I will see you again soon for the next review covering all the recon weapons, and then finally support. And then after that, we all know Ubisoft is going to be releasing, I don't know, CBJH, blah, 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 just reskins, repackage the old models. And I'll be covering those in individual weapon packs. But this is going to be, you know, to the date, as of now, which is what, February 7th, all the weapons they've released in the last couple of months. So you can look forward to the next two reviews for recon support. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.